Shalom, family. On the last episode, we talked about surviving straightway and my experience in Straightway Truth Ministries and Pastor Dowell. On this episode, part 6 of my testimony, we'll be talking about my experience after leaving Straightway, my life-altering car crash, and me signing a deal with Sony Music. All that here on One Stop Shop.
Break it. The red pill brought me out of the matrix, so I see it off for what it is.
The furious aftermath of a Saturday morning traffic accident in Atlanta.
Right now, 85 northbound completely shut down.
And he joins us live. You're 85.
Staring in the face of defeat, but whom shall I fear? You're the stronghold in my life. Whom shall I be afraid?
It's way darker this time.
All praises to the Most High. Immediately after leaving Straightway, which was January of 2021, the homie Sean from the last video, he came down and actually baptized me. So I got baptized in the pool. Like I said, I wasn't able to get baptized at Straightway. I got baptized at the pool in my apartment. You know, in the Most High, in Yahushua Mashiach's name, I got baptized. And so that was a great day for me. It was cold. Ooh, it was so cold. It was freezing outside, man. And so January in Georgia, man, it gets pretty cold. But we did it, hopped that fence, got baptized, came back in, and yeah, you know, it was a glorious day. So all praises to the Most High. Continued to write music. I've been doing a lot in the studio at that time. I was pretty much living in the studio with me and some of my boys, just going to the studio. A lot of them, I was the only Bible that they knew. And so at the time they weren't in the truth, but they saw that I was in the truth and how passionate I was on this walk, being celibate, to my walk, reading the Bible, to all the stuff that I was learning. And again, this was the time of COVID, and I chose a stance of faith over fear when a lot of people were afraid of the pandemic and the things that were taking place at the time, death, you know. So it was an interesting time. I was walking amongst those that I knew weren't believers. They were my brothers. And the same way the Messiah was like, hey, we're not supposed to be isolated. We're supposed to preach the gospel to everybody. And that was my way of preaching the gospel, was by making Reborn and sending it out abroad. But anyway, for those of you that are familiar with the catalog, this was January, so I did Midnight in like October of 2020. I did Guillotine in December 2020. So by January, I'd already done the Lost video. That was in December 2020. And I released it on my birthday, February 4th of 2021. And so at that time, most people knew me as a Hebrew Israelite. People knew me for Reborn. There were a few songs that kind of stood out. Praise Yah, I Smile, did all right. But that was what they knew me for. However, my goal was never to be a Hebrew artist. I know that there are some that claim that title as a Hebrew artist. my goal is to be a Hebrew man. There's going to be certain times where I'm not solely speaking about biblical topics, and that's my prerogative. My favorite artist is Bob Marley, and I love the way that he intertwined both his belief with the Most High and his music. So, and he has songs like Turn Your Lights Down Low. There's songs that I've made that are love songs. And so I know that as an artist, certain people look at me sideways when I make a love song, or they look at me sideways when I talk about something that I've been through in my past or currently going through in my life. But, you know, like I said on my latest album, Redeemed, this is a walk. And, you know, you go through all types of different phases in this walk. When I made Reborn, I was younger, and I didn't realize how many different stages and phases that I would go through while being in this truth. But now, being older and having gone through certain things that I'm going to get into on this video, being mad at God. They don't talk about that when you first get in, that there may be times where you may be upset at the Most High for allowing certain things to happen. Again, everything in his will, and we are but children. It's like a child being upset at their father. And so let's just go ahead and get into it, because on May 8th of 2021, I got in a really bad car crash, as you saw in the beginning of the video, with one of my brothers, Quincy. And this is somebody that blood couldn't make us any closer. And it really hurt because I hadn't seen him in a long time. It's one of my close brothers, and he just graduated from law school. And we were celebrating, and we ended up getting in a car crash. Early that morning, I had fallen asleep at the wheel. I was going 75 miles an hour on the 85 and ended up hitting the wall. You know, and you saw the damage that was done. It was really bad, and they had to get us out with the jaws of life. I remember just coming back to, and all the glass in the car was broken. Everything was shattered. I could look outside my windshield, and I didn't see any glass. I just saw straight sky, and my screen was shattered. Everything was shattered. And I knew then, I was like, oh man. And I looked over, and he was unconscious. And it was like, oh man, nah, because this is really bad. This is really bad. I tried to wake him up. All praise the Most High, he woke up. But we got rushed to the hospital. The dashboard had gone through my leg, and I was busted open. I got rushed to the hospital. We both got rushed to the hospital. I could hear the doctors. They were saying, oh man, he's lost a lot of blood. We need to get him there. We need to get him there. Got to the hospital, going in and out still, because when I saw my leg, I instantly went into shock. Now that's why I'm going in and out when I'm getting to the hospital. Got rushed up to Northside Hospital up in Gwinnett, and I'm laying on the table, and I remember picking up my phone because I'm like, no, somebody needs to know where I am. Somebody needs to know what just took place. Tried calling a few people, but it's real early in the morning. Finally get in touch with my homegirl, Courtney, and I'm like, hey, Court, I just got in an accident. I'm in the hospital. They're saying my leg is shattered. And my phone died. And I was like, oh, man, so it was a whole fiasco for them even finding out where we were. But yeah, the doctors are saying your leg is shattered. When they saw it, they were like, oh no, it's done, and I just remember leaning up in the hospital, handing them my phone. And when I leaned up under the bright lights, I saw my leg again, instantly went into shock. When I saw my leg, man, it was like, oh my God. And I've never gone into shock in my life. I'm not somebody that throws up. Like, drinking in the world, no matter how drunk I got, I never threw up. When I saw my leg, man, I threw up 3 times on the doctors. It was really crazy. I can't believe I'm telling y'all this, but I'm being really open right now. I felt so bad for the doctors. And then I passed out. Man, I threw up on those doctors and clocked out. They were like, boy. And so, man, when I came back to, was up in another room, and my surgeon, she come up and she talked to me a little bit about what took place in terms of the damage that was done. It gone through my patella tendon. She was like, man, you will be lucky to walk, but I think we'll be able to, I'll be able to get it repaired. Because she would either have to repair it or reconstruct it. I don't remember the two differences, but one would require me putting a metal, like steel, in my leg, and the other wouldn't. So if I had the steel in my leg, I wouldn't be able to run. But she's like, you're lucky to walk, honestly. But when they saw the CAT scans, because the way it looked way worse. Trust me, trust me, it looked really bad. When I saw it, I was like, oh, they're about to cut it off. That's what I was thinking. I thought they were gonna amputate my leg. But all praise to the Most High, they didn't have to do that, and I was able to go to surgery the next night. I was in a lot of pain. I was in a lot of pain. They had to give me what's called Dilaudid, and I was in the IV, and they were shooting me up with the Dilaudid. I remember being mad at the nurse because the Dilaudid, man, it make you high because it's stronger than morphine. You're just in there high, and you go right to sleep. Like after 10-15 seconds, you're just tired. You go to sleep. And I remember they were trying to wean me off the Dilaudid after the surgery. I went to the surgery. The surgeon was like, yeah, your leg had so much debris in it. It was like as big as a balloon. I had to literally fill your leg up to flush out all the debris, fill it up with water to flush out all the debris of what was inside of your leg. Then your tendons, they were like breadcrumbs, literally, and I had to grab it and put it back together. She pretty much was like, yo, I'm really that chick. I'm really like that. Like, I think she was really impressed, and I knew it was God, but I know she was like, man, like it was really, if you were there, you'd have been proud of me. That's what she was trying to say. And I was like, hey, I wasn't there, but I'm so proud of you. All praises to the Most High, and so then when they were trying to wean me off the Dilaudid after the surgery, they were giving me morphine. And I was like, yo, doc, this isn't strong enough. I'm in a lot of pain. They're like, oh, well, we can't give you any more Dilaudid. And the homie's on the phone. I'm like, nah, hey, I need that. What's on that board? Because they had a whiteboard in front of me. And I just knew that the Dilaudid, they had told me earlier that it was called Dilaudid, what they were giving me. I'm like, yeah, I need that. That D word, I need that. Because this morphine's not working. And she was like, well, we can't give you. I'm like, doc, my homie like, hey, chill, bro, chill. I'm like, no, bro, I'm in pain, bro. So she went out, came back, shot me up with Dilaudid. I was like, oh, all right, homie, I'm about to go to sleep. I'm watching me some HBO Max. I'm going to holler at you later, bro. And sure enough, man, I was knocked out. I didn't even start the movie. So, yeah, after all that, my family, they ended up finding me, and ended up hearing about Quincy. Quincy had broken collarbone. He had lacerated part of his ear, orbital eye fracture, chest contusions. And so I felt terrible for that, because this is my brother. This is somebody that, man, like I said, blood couldn't make us any closer. We've been through battles together. And for me to hear that, and for it to be my fault, it was a lot, I didn't realize that at that time in my walk, just the guilt and the shame, and really how to handle and deal with that, and the anger that I had towards myself. And because I'm a leader, I'm an army officer, I'm somebody that leads people, and for it to be my fault that my brother got injured, that I broke my brother, it was something that was really hard for me to live with at that time. It still is, but I had to go through a lot of healing, and it took a long time. I was upset at God, especially because, like I said in the last video, I believed that I was going to be out of here at 25, and I got to 25 and I'm still here. So I was like, you have something for me. My purpose is not done. Because when I looked up at that, in that sky, in that night sky, when I didn't see any windshield and I just looked up and I could feel his presence, it was like, nothing that I could ever explain. Sitting there broken in that car next to my brother and looking up at that sky, it was really spiritual. It was like he was saying, I'm not done with you yet. And many times it was really interesting. I went back and I heard past music of mine, and I heard how I was speaking this into existence, me leaving at 25. And that's why I say words are so powerful. And I'll play some of them here.
The Reaper's been talking to me lately. The Reaper's been talking to me. The Reaper's been talking to me lately. The Reaper's been talking to me. Want them to love me like they love Benji. Want them to love me like they love Benji. Lamert Park to send me on high. Want them to feel me as one of the greatest rappers that never made it to 25. My grandma looked me in the eyes and told me I'm her lifeline. The sole reason for her to stay alive. So when she hits her knees in the nighttime to pray to God, I hear my name. My dreams ain't far away. My dreams ain't far away. Hope I achieve them before we meet the pearly gates. My legacy's in the race against the fates. They say before you die your life flash before your eyes. That's why I reminisce on my best days. Allow me to take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Visualize my lost life on wax. I'm speaking to you. Allow me to take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Visualize my lost life on wax. I'm speaking to you. Woo. Lord save me, think I'm helping. Only you seen what I've seen, so you know I can't help it. Speeding off the cliff notes, diving the hell's pits. I heard Chronos laughing all the way from Tartarus. So this the end, I'm about to go out in the blaze. Heard there's a special place in hell for angels that lost their way. But then my body stopped, suspended up in the air. I saw a light, that's how I knew you were truly there. Rock. I got angels watching over me. I got angels watching over me. I got angels watching over me, yeah. Break. I know God, you trying to bring me back. I know God, you trying to bring me back to the good side, good side, good side.
So as you can see from those songs, I'm speaking death over me. And those songs were made before I was in the truth. I did not have any knowledge of the Most High. I did not have any knowledge of forgiveness. And when I was coming up, I saw a lot. And I didn't think I was going to make it to 25. I thought, hey, you get what you can out this life and then you ride off. Yeah, I was a crash out, for real. And I ended up crashing out and hitting that wall. So after that, I went home. It was a year recovery process. I had a lot of physical therapy. I had to learn how to walk again. The doctor, when I was in the doctor's office, I remember laying down because when it first happened, I didn't think that it was gonna be as bad as they were saying it was gonna be. I've always been an athlete, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna bounce back. I'm gonna get back really fast. Like whatever they're saying, whatever. And I remember being in the doctor's office and being on my back on the table and my leg straight out and her telling me, lift my leg, just keep my leg locked and lift my leg off the table. And I remember giving all my effort into it and my leg did not budge. That's when the realization hit. That was my first doctor's appointment a few weeks after. And that's when the realization hit that, oh, I really messed up. My body, I can't even lift my leg. And I was working out heavy at that time and my muscles had atrophied. And it was just very demoralizing. Like, okay, you put in all this work, but that's why he says, physical strength, that's vain, But yeah, a lot of my muscles had atrophied because you lose muscle twice as fast as you gain muscle. And that's what the doctors told me at that time. And, I saw it. But yeah, man, I went back. I went back home after that. And the first week I was home is when I started my next album, Redeemed. And that's when I made in that first week, I made Release Me, I made Burdens and Borrowed Time, and I made The Walk, and another song called Shakedown that didn't make the tape. But those were the first 4 songs that I made when I came back. Burdens and Borrowed Time was the one you heard earlier in the segment where I showed the car crash. But yeah, those were the 3 songs, and I was gonna put out that EP at that time. However, I wasn't in the mentality. Something was missing, and I was in a real depressed state because, again, like I said, I heard my brother, he's about to go up to Chicago to be a, big time attorney, and I had a lot of stuff on me. The devil was really accusing me at that time. Like, you're no good. Look what you did to your brother. You call yourself a leader. Look what you did. And I made that song At Fault. And that was me really bearing my soul, really bearing my heart and how I felt about the situation regarding my brother and regarding that car crash. And so they gave me all types of pills, man. They gave me oh my gosh, I had so many pills that I had to take. I was on a walker. I had my other dog at the time, Roxy. I'm on a walker trying to walk my dog. My cousin Justin, man, shout out to my cousin Justin. He was a huge help at this time. My little cousin that kind of just moved himself into my apartment before the car crash. Didn't know he was going to end up being such a big help for me at that time, man. So he was helping me walk Roxy, and yeah, man, my leg was locked for about a month or 2 before they unlocked it, because I had the brace and it kept my leg locked. So yeah, it was it was an interesting time, but I did not want to take those pills, man. Hey, everybody has their own beliefs. I was smoking weed. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm gonna take my chances because I'm in a lot of pain. You guys have given me so many pills that you have literally given me a pill just to cleanse my stool, which is essentially a pill just so you can poop. So I'm like, man, I'm not about to take all that. Like, I'm just gonna have to smoke this weed, bro. That's what I did, man. I was smoking that ganja and going to physical therapy, and I don't care what anybody says. At that time, it did become somewhat of an addiction. This weed now is not the same weed, especially when you start getting into the different strands. But yeah, I had to kick that. That's later down the road. But I was smoking it for every day, every night. I was high for like 3 months, because of the pain that I was in. And I remember my homegirl Court, she was like, yo, you should come up to New York. Like, I can tell you have cabin fever. And she could just tell that I wasn't in the best state of mind regarding everything. And so I went up to New York, and she was like, man, I want to know how you write, because she's a writer too at heart. She's a poet. And she's like, how do you listen to a beat and write on the beat? And so I'm like, okay, when I come up here, I'm going to show you how I write a song. It's real easy. I can show anybody how to write a hit song. I've been doing this for 14, 15 years now. So when I got up to New York, we started playing some new songs, ended up coming up with Lifeline, Divine, Running Away. When I was just up there trying to show her how to write, ended up coming across those songs. And then that week I got back, I created New Jerusalem and Blue Skies. So those 5 songs were created, not entirely done, but the concept, the blueprint of the song, all 5 songs were created within a span of a week. So I was rejuvenated. I got to see some of my boys. Was on a podcast up there. I just felt way better. I didn't realize the cabin fever that I had going on at the time when I was just down there smoking all this weed. But came back, and now Redeemed is no longer an EP. Redeemed turned into an album because I had all these other songs that came, and they all fit with the ones that I already created, being the EP was going to be Release Me, Burdens of Borrowed Time, and The Walk. But with the other 5 songs and the Free Fall, which I'd done before the crash, it all came together. When I came back, that's what took place. And then I found out that one of my boys had pitched my song to this Grammy Award-winning writer. He's like a 7-time Grammy Award-winning writer. He showed him the song, and the guy really liked it. And so I ended up linking up with him. At this lounge, we're just chilling and outside, just talking or whatever. And he asked me to see some of my music. I showed him some of my music, and he was really impressed. He's like, man, yeah, I could work with this. He's written for a lot of big artists, big names, Kanye, Wayne, Carrie Hilson, the list goes on. And so at that time, he was like, man, I'm gonna draft up a contract. I want to get this over because you're a gold mine, And I was like, okay, cool. So got that drafted up, sent that over. Now I'm under Sony. And it was an interesting time of my life. Again, now being out from under Straightway, dealing with all the stuff that I dealt with that year in terms of the car crash and the depression and the guilt and just the stuff that I was carrying. Yeah, just everything that I had already been through. It was an interesting year. But yeah, once I got signed to Sony, I instantly got thrown into the industry. Started going to a lot of different functions. I was recording my album at Usher's studio. Got cool with his brother. Out with people in the industry. Was at Tiana Taylor's stuff and met Mariah the Scientist. And it was just like a lot of just different things going on at the time. Went to LA, had a mixer with Interscope, and started just meeting a lot of different people. Ended up talking to, actually, this is now going into 22, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but was talking to one of the urban marketing directors at Interscope. So I'm starting seeing even more stuff behind the scenes of the industry because this is somebody that I'm talking to now. It was just interesting that time and being spiritual and having spiritual eyes and seeing all the things that were taking place in the industry because I'm now going in guarded. Okay, what's your fruit? What's your belief? Who's your God? I remember actually going to a party up in Alpharetta because that's where all the rich artists live, for real, is in Alpharetta. There's a lot of money in Alpharetta out here, but where we be at, like Justin Bieber would just pull up, Mary Jane from the original Spider-Man would just pull up. Cardi B, I think, lived out there. Jeezy. There's a lot of wealth out there. But I remember going to a party out there with the guy that brought me in to Sony Music because he was like my connect. And I'm talking to the guy that made the A Milli beat for Wayne. And as I'm talking to him, I remember looking over at the table. And on this table, there's a book. And it says Illuminati Bloodlines. And this is this white man. It's like, this house had to be like $10 million. But I just remember looking over, I'm like, oh, okay, huh. Oh, that's the type of time we on. Okay. So, yeah, it was like he was showing me behind the veil a little bit more. And at the end of the day, I cut it down because I don't want to make it too long of all the different things that took place. With that stint that I got to see behind the veil of the industry, I ended up having the opportunity to write for Cardi B, and that's when I had to make a choice. It was like, are you going to be again on the Most High side, or are you going to go over here to the world? But the guy that got me introduced to Cheese, and Cheese is a producer in the industry, he made one of Cardi B's big songs on her last tape called Bartier. I think it's Bartier Cardi. But my boy Reggie got me introduced to Cheese and hyped me up to Cheese. He was like, man, this, like, Rock can write. Like, there's not many people that I know that can write like Rock, and he's for real, So I didn't even know that Reggie had thought that highly of me, but until he told me, man, Cheese, he's excited to work with you. And so Cheese sent me over some of his beats, and I was listening to them, and I had to go and I had to study Cardi, and I was listening to her music. And before I never really listened to Cardi B, obviously, because I'm in the truth. And as I'm sitting there listening to Cardi B, I'm like, I don't have anything for this woman to say, bro. Like, for real, I would have to really, really come down in order to write for Cardi B. And then it's like, once you come down from up here, because I'm spiritually open now, I'm seeing everything. Coming down from Reborn and the stuff that I was writing at that time, Redeemed, to come down and write for Cardi B. And then once I write for Cardi B, then Nicki Minaj is going to come calling. Then Glorilla or Meg Thee Stallion. And I want to stay up here. I want to write and be amongst people that are on the same energy, same frequency, have the same mentality that I do. So I just kind of went off the map after that, if I'm going to be honest. I ended up terminating the deal with Sony Music, and yeah, that was my industry moment. This is when she was about to come back. I think she had a baby or something, and she had just won a bunch of Grammys for her last album, so she was coming back, and they were like, man, you know, we want to work with you for this next album. And yeah, so it's very interesting because at that same time, on the other side of my life, while all this stuff is going on, I am doing Shabbats with this family, the Freeman family, and they were part of Straightway. They got kicked out of Straightway because Pastor Dow didn't like them, or Elder Rufus, one of the two didn't like them. I don't really remember the whole situation, but long story short, they got kicked out of Straightway. And I was doing Shabbats with them because, again, this is the family that was from LA. We had a connection, and yeah, you know, they opened their home up for me to come do Shabbat with them. And there was another sister there named Tasha. We were all doing Shabbats together. Anyway, we all got pretty close and talked about buying some land and getting out of Babylon and doing all that. So they went ahead, they've got 14 acres of land down in Waynesboro, Georgia. Now at the time, we were all up in the outskirts of Atlanta. I think they were in Powder Springs or Lithia Springs, one of the two. I'm in Duluth. Waynesboro, Georgia is about 3.5 hours. Waynesboro is about 45 minutes outside of Augusta, Georgia. So we all were talking about doing this. They got it. They went down there. And so now there's a lot going on between the two families, the Freeman family and Tasha. This is months later, obviously. We had been doing Shabbat since before I left Straightway. We've been doing Shabbat since like November, December time, and now this is about a year later, essentially, when they bought the land, and they ended up getting into a whole strife. And that's why I say, man, you know, when you're in this walk, just because somebody is a brother or sister of yours in this truth does not mean that you need to be hanging out with them. I don't trust majority of people now in this truth, and that's on me. It's something that I'm working through now, because through this process I got to see not everybody is cut from the same cloth as me. Not everybody is going to handle certain situations the same way that I would handle situations. Am I perfect? Obviously not. But just because coming to the truth of the same knowledge as somebody doesn't mean that you guys are on the same frequency. I mean, that goes for anything, though. Just because somebody knows how to write a song and another person knows how to write a song doesn't mean that you guys are equally aligned, equally yoked. And so we were not equally yoked. I look back now, and you know, as they went through their stuff, I got tangled up in it and ended up picking a side. And man, I uprooted my entire life to go down and live on this farm. This 14-acre farm to help the sister out, and it didn't go the way that I would have wanted it to go, but all praise to the Most High. Yah needed me down there, because at that time my biological brother Jeremy, he came into the picture and he started helping out. He's a carpenter, so he started helping out a lot, building up the land, and we started spending a lot more time together because he's about 17 years older than me. And so we weren't really close growing up, but this was our time to really get to know one another. And so he said the other day, the reason the Most High brought you down to this land, this farm, was because of me. Like, being there opened my eyes and my heart to know who the Most High Yah is, and to be able to accept him and receive him. And for that, I give all praises to the Most High, because at that time, everybody thought I was crazy for just uprooting my entire life. I have a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment. I'm doing well for myself, working remote. To just up and go down to a farm is just like, oh, okay, 3.5 hours away from everybody, where my sister's up here, my dad is up here, my boys are up here. You're just gonna go down and uproot your entire life to go help this woman down here on this farm with her son? Like, what are you doing? I was like, yeah, I am. And I remember I had a real spiritual experience with the Most High, where it felt like he came into my room one night in January before I left. And he told me, hey, you're my son. Listen to me. Do this. And I didn't know why he said it at that time. But he said, do this. I need you to go down here on this land. I need you to just be obedient. And for my brother to say that was like, wow, you know. And he thanked me. He's like, man, I thank you for being obedient to the Father. And it's all praises to him. I'm not taking any credit. I was just listening to the voice of the Father. All praises to the Most High. You know, my brother he's in it. He's saved now. And that's a beautiful thing. I always wanted a relationship with him, and now I have not only a blood brother, but a brother in the Messiah, a brother in Yah, faith. The things that took place on the farm, it's now water under the bridge. I have nothing but love for the sister, for her son CJ. I heard they had to recently sell the farm. But yeah, I mean, when you're in this walk, it's one thing to be spiritual. So the Most High, he's led me to write a book about this. But it's one thing to be a brother and sister in the spirit, in Christ. However, there's still a business aspect to it. And that's something that at 25, I left my apartment on my birthday at 26. I did not know at that time. I was still young. I didn't understand the business side of things. You know, we all had our respective portions, but we should have had this conversation regarding how everything's going to get split up and how we're going to run things out the LLC and had an actual business plan before we all linked up. Because when we are all linking up as one, my brother, her, myself, we're combining our blood, sweat, and tears together to create this entity, to create this farm, to take care of the animals and build and to grow food. You have to have a business plan, a business structure in order for it to be successful, especially when we start talking about selling food and all types of other things. And so it's interesting now because when I hear people talking about linking up and going and doing stuff together on a farm here, doing that and living off the land, and you know, maybe people from other families doing it, it gets very technical. Now I understand it. Now I know that if I were to ever do it again, I'd want it to be on my land. I'd want it to be under my own name. I'd want it to have some sort of equity in the property and what's going on, because at the end of the day, when I left because I had a lot on my mind. I remember my grandma told me when I was younger, I was like 15. She said a man's mind doesn't completely form until the age of 25. And I didn't believe that at that time. I was 15. I'm like, come on, Granny, my mind is formed. Like, I know what I'm doing out here. And it wasn't until 26 that I remember being on that farm and everything it clicked. And I was like, whoa, I've arrived. I'm here. My mind feels fully formed. And wait, I'm taking on other people's stuff. And at that time, I was very just sympathetic, just take the shirt off my back. And you know, there was another brother involved too, John. And John, I brought him in with open arms, and it's like, yeah, man, you know, we're in the truth. He's like, okay, I want to learn more. And that brother ended up running off with $3,200 of my money, $2,600 of my cousin's money, and never paid my cousin back. I had some collateral of his, so that's why only reason why he paid me back. But my cousin never got his money back, and he called me the next year and told me, hey, yeah, I just got this big fat lawsuit check, and I'm just pretty much telling you that, yeah, you know, yeah, I got that. I ain't giving your cousin a dime, nigga. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, hey, man, I pray that everything works out for you, man. Y'all bless. He started, man, you such a weirdo. Woo. And it was so crazy because I could see the spirits come out of him. And I'm like, bro, you don't even know. You don't even know the blessing that you just messed up, dog. During that time, I went through a lot of heartache with people that I thought were friends because they were in the truth. People that I thought were brothers, sisters of mine. Because we're all in this truth together. And I thought that we were a family. I thought that truly that these were people that I was gonna grow old with and go through the great tribulation with. And it didn't work out like that. Again, Yah has his plan, Yah has his will, but it did hurt a lot. especially the last one. That one was what really hurt the most and ended up sending me to a mental hospital. I know. Yeah. So I'm gonna save that one for the next video, because that's one thing that I don't believe most believers talk about is, yes, we are spiritually awake now, but there's still a mental aspect to this as well. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual have to be aligned. And I throw commercial in there as well. Commercial being the business side. You have to be balanced. And though I was awake spiritually, I was not balanced mentally because of a lot of things that taken place earlier in my life and things that I didn't get deliverance from earlier. And now I'm getting more and more stuff just piling on, thinking that I would sometime later in my life get deliverance on it, but I didn't realize that it was just gonna keep stacking, man. And that's what happened. It sent me to a mental hospital. So I literally released the album Redeemed in a mental hospital. So I'm gonna save that for the next album. For now though, I will put some of the songs for Redeemed at the end of this video. Check them out. But again, my name is Rock. We're here at the One Stop Shop. All praise to the Most High Yah. See you on Judgment Day.
Break it. The red pill brought me out of the matrix, so I see it off of what it is. Grabbing up for the ones that lost. Granny was big, I measure the cost, but I've been used like Texas touch. Yeah, I've been moving non-stop, hitting the city on the end of track. Pull up on the shoulders and follow the back. Rooftop, yeah, I was rockin'. And I can always call upon you in my life, you're my lifeline. Whoa. And I can always call upon you in my life, you're my lifeline. Whoa. And I can always call upon you in my life, you're my lifeline. Whoa. And I can always call upon you in my lifeline.
Cause your divinity is definitely what I want to experience until infinity. I can't get enough of your spirit.
Once I was really full of worries, living right now. I give the Father all the glory for my life now. And I was lost in the conclusion till my light down. But now I'm learning how to fly. I feel so divine. Once I was really full of worries, living right now. I give the Father all the glory for my life now. And I was lost in the conclusion till my light down. But now I'm learning how to fly. I feel so divine.
You move so divine, the way that you walk. You look so divine, the way that you talk. You sound so divine, I guess it's who you are. We've been through too much. I gotta do it. And when it all goes off, I guess we're all cool after all. And when it all cools off, I guess we're all cool. I remember the first time that we locked eyes, yeah. I remember the feeling that you gave me inside, yeah. And knew I could confide in intoxication as you show your true side, yeah. Now my mama wants to know if I'm with you. When I get hungry, bro, I know where I'm looking. Cause nothing beat your line, just cook it. Everybody say, every Shabbat I say Shabbat Shalom. I pray the Father comes and takes me home. Because my heart's long gone up from Babylon. Dreams of going to Jerusalem. Every Shabbat I say Shabbat Shalom. I pray the Father comes and takes me home. Because my heart's long gone up from Babylon. Dreams of going to Jerusalem. Yeah. Sitting there looking at me with your pretty eyes, you call I come right away. I think I'm all about some movies, see clear blue sky, yeah. Fly away, I'm gonna fly away. I think it's time I bust some movies on stage fright. The night's dark for the dawn, now it's dark in the daylight. I heard the doctor say you lost a lot of blood. I was talking to court before I dropped the ball. I told her I think the father's about to call me up. I told her no more, it's the album I was made for. I'm just glad I'm safe before my time is up. The night I looked into the sky and I felt the presence of the Most High. And all that burned in my mind was burdens and borrowed time.